the proceedings. You will
Thank you.
indicate to me when you are ready, yourself and Honorable Mwango.
Thank you, Chair.
And we take Honorable James.
Actually, I thought IFP is going before me, but anyway.
No, yeah.
Good afternoon, Minister. Minister, do you think South Africans should be content by the fact that you are the fourth minister?
No, yeah, I think that the instability there, the changes, you know, if you have, if you're appointed as an important portfolio and you have the time to achieve something, that's important. So the changes that have been occasioned have been what the President thought necessary in the circumstances that we found ourselves after General Mkunazi made that statement. Has led to it's a hiatus. It's a period. It was a sort of inflection point or crisis point that led to my appointment. I'm very aware of that. That it's and I was, you know, quite shocked, and I would say even saddened by the fact that Senzim Chunu was put on special leave. I've always held him in high regard, and I was surprised. I'm surprised by some of the evidence that has been led. As the chairperson of the council, quite shortly before these events, he agreed to meet with myself as the chair of the council, and we struggled to get a meeting previously, you know, to engage with SAPS on the work that we were trying to do. And we had a very productive meeting.
Sorry, Minister, we don't have a lot of time.
Okay.
Can we leave it at that? That you were saddened, that you weren't quite content with being appointed as the fourth minister, placing strain on the South African purse. Am I right?
I tend to be quite frugal in the way I carry out this office. I haven't, as you know, in the private office, for many reasons, but there I have used secondments. Major General Susan Pinar is now the Chief of Staff. The person who was acting as the Chief of Staff, or in the position of the Chief of Staff, appointed by Minister Mchunu. I felt that if he's going to appear before the Madlanga Commission and yourselves, and given some of the evidence that's being led, that he should no longer carry that responsibility for me. But you know, General Pinar is a career police officer, so there's no additional budgetary implications.
Minister, I'm going to request of you to please keep your answers very short. I don't have a lot of time. When the President Cyril Ramaphosa called you, what was his ask and what did it entail? Take us through that conversation.
It was a very brief conversation. I had said in public that, you know, I was watching tennis that day. It was a Sunday. And my phone was upstairs. It rang a few times, but I ignored the ringing. And then it was about 7 o'clock that evening, I got a call from his national security advisor to say the president is looking for you, and please take his call. So I said, of course I'll take his call. And then the president called me about 5 minutes later and said, listen, I want to appoint you as the Minister of Police. I was taken aback, and I must have asked him, well, what's happened with the incumbent? He must have given me, I don't recall now in detail, a brief explanation, but I didn't hesitate.
Okay.
I just accepted this as a responsibility.
Okay, you didn't hesitate, you didn't think of the fact that there were already 2 deputy ministers, you didn't highlight that, you didn't ask him why me, you didn't highlight the fact that this would put strain on the public purse, you just said, I'm in it.
I didn't even know there were 2 deputy ministers.
Okay.
I hadn't been, you know, I didn't, yeah, I just didn't know that.
You didn't say to him, give me some time to think about it,
No,
because
I
obviously these decisions will impact the greater South Africa. You just said, despite not knowing that there were 2 deputy ministers, you just said, I'll take the job.
You know, maybe we have a cultural issue here. You have to understand that, you know, for the generation that I grew up in, public office was not a prospect, and it wasn't the aim. And I can say that to you with complete frankness. I am carrying out a public responsibility. Of course, it's a high office. It has a lot of status and responsibility. But I'm not, that is, really doesn't interest me, to be
Okay,
perfectly frank.
thank
Yes.
you, Minister. You're not that kind of guy. Minister, South Africans are frustrated. They are angry like me. What are some of the low-hanging fruit that we can act on right now towards reform? Because we also don't know how long you're going to be in this position. And we know whenever a new person, minister, steps in, all the old strategies gets thrown in the bin. So we don't know how long you're going to be there. Have you identified low-hanging fruit that we can implement immediately?
So I'm going to take the time that's necessary to understand what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. I don't think there are low-hanging fruit in the South African police service. It might be that there are some immediate steps that have to be taken around consequence management, for instance. I've identified some clear areas where I think attention needs to be directed, like accountability in supply chain. But I'm not going to rush into making decisions. I will engage, I will consult, I will reflect, and I will act.
Thank you, Minister. You don't see firing of General Sibia and the Minister as a low-hanging fruit based on the allegations and the evidence that has been brought before the Madlanga Commission?
Which minister?
Minister, I must watch my pronunciation here. Minister Nkunu, yes.
Well, that's not my decision.
Okay.
Okay.
But I asked you your view in
My
terms
view.
of low-hanging fruit that would contribute towards
No,
reform immediately.
I'm afraid I can't. That's the President's decision, and that's my answer.
Okay. Minister, let's take a walk down memory lane because I see there's similarities here. We saw the disbandment of the Scorpions in 2008. I think it was under President Jacob Zuma as well. We see all these presidents disbanding entities when they are embroiled in corruption. We saw the replacement of the Hawks under SAPS. Also another failed mandate, South Africa suffering with the consequences. We now see IDAC under NPA, another interagency mess. We know that you served as the chairperson of the National Anti-Corruption Council, I'm right? And there you've made a recommendation for another entity, I think it was called the Public Office of Integrity. The Public Office of Integrity. The Office of Public Integrity, sorry. Do you want to start another anti-corruption body that's going to take us how long? We've seen sort of the negative impact and the corruption within these Chapter 9 institutions, and we know this could possibly take years. Do you think this is the right step to take?
So maybe you're confusing the Hawks with with the scorpions, the hawks, that's the DPCI. It continues to exist. It's in SAPS. It's a very important component, and I've indicated that I think that it needs to be developed and reshaped into the main vehicle for attacking organized crime. So it does exist. Your observations about IDAC are not quite right, because IDAC came out of a constitutional court judgment responding to the disbandment of the scorpions, which is what I think you intended to say. And it's an attempt to implement a prosecution-led approach to the fight against corruption by strengthening the independence of that institution. So what you are mischaracterizing with respect to this initiative. It's an important initiative in the reform process. It's not going to be helpful, with respect, member, to be impatient with the serious questions we're facing around institutional reform and capacity building. We had an extraordinary achievement in this country when we had a democratic breakthrough. We adopted a constitution in a relatively peaceful way, and we set up a range of institutions. Some of them have been an enormous success. Others have failed. The challenge is to learn from those experiences, look at where we need to rebuild capacity, and where necessary, establish new institutions, because we are dealing with an evolving situation that could not possibly have been anticipated 30 years ago. Now, the proposal we've made, you're quite right, when you establish institutions, it can take a long time. Australia is in the process of establishing a similar anti-corruption institution. It took them 15 years, as I understand it. And now in the implementation phase, I understand that they've experienced some problems. Can you say that the Australians are wrong to consider establishing an anti-corruption institution because they came to the conclusion that they needed one? They had the usual institutions, strong prosecutors, investigative bodies, and so forth, but they considered that it was necessary to establish an anti-corruption institution. Our constitutional court has said that we need to establish an anti-corruption institution, and across the world, anti-corruption institutions have been established in jurisdictions across the world in the last 10 years. They are responding. That's a response to a real need. Now, the way we've approached this question is pragmatically. I know if you're asking me questions that require a response, I need to have the time to respond if you want an answer, because I can't give you a simple answer. So if you feel that I've run out of time, I'll stop.
I didn't say anything, Minister.
No, I just thought that I might be running out of time, because you did indicate that I'm taking too long with my answers. Now, the OPI is not an entirely new body. We've looked at the SIU, which has infrastructure across the country, proven capabilities of leadership, and a proven skills base. That institution has shown success, and it has a footprint across the country. It's led by someone I think has outstanding leadership abilities, Motibe. Now, what we've said is that we need to establish this we need new capabilities, because it has the capabilities of the SIU at the moment are specific. Only the President issues specific proclamations based on evidence that's provided to investigate a particular matter, like Tembisa Hospital. And then they are limited to exercising powers that the President has conferred by proclamation. That's not optimal. You need a body that can investigate matters without a presidential proclamation. You need a body that can deal with whistleblowing. We don't have such institutions in place at the moment. So what we have proposed is to augment, to build upon the powers and functions of the SIU by creating a new, by adopting a new statute, expand its powers and functions, but build on what it's already achieved, because that will shorten the time that it takes to establish an institution. And while we are doing that, the SIU will continue incrementally to expand its powers and capabilities. So we have made a proposal which takes the country's resource constraints into account, its needs into account, because we certainly need to fight corruption more effectively. Now let me give you an example of what we're trying to achieve. A real live example. Tembisa Hospital. We are acting too late now. We're learning the truth too late. The harm has already been done. That institution has been destroyed by corruption. That corruption is systemic. What happened is that cartels took over the systems of the hospital. And it then started to serve the interests of the cartels, not the patients. Now, what we have in mind is an institution that has powers of search and seizure, of entry, of investigation, that could have gone into the hospital, looked at their systems, came to conclusions based on the evidence, made binding recommendations on, for instance, on procurement reform. And we've said, in addition, if they discover evidence of criminal malfeasance, they should be able to carry out the criminal investigation. So in a very limited way, they've been given powers of criminal investigation. We didn't want to go the whole hog because other bodies have the responsibility, like the DPCI, to investigate crime. It is going to take time. We took 3 years to adopt the report. The country had adopted the anti-corruption plan 2 years earlier. That's 5 years already. And I would say the report is nowhere near the implementation phase. It hasn't yet been adopted.
Minister, I'm so
government.
sorry. With all due respect, I think you've responded. You're now giving us case studies and examples. I think if anything...
Okay, that's fine. If you are satisfied with the answer.
I'm satisfied, yes. I think if anything, that's more concerning now, the fact that you speak about this long process and the fact that we don't have an institution or a body in place that can protect whistleblowers. I also want to ask on a different topic, Minister. You mentioned that you were concerned, something along those lines, about the conduct of former Minister Becky. Am I right? Yeah, thanks for saying that for me. And you mentioned association. You know, one needs to, the company we keep. You spoke about having a principled approach. Is that correct? Right now we have a strategy for, yesterday we spoke in the committee for the Cape Flats, am I correct? Okay. The generals heading up the strategy, is General Mosekile one of them? You speak about having ethical leaders, you speak about association. Is this the same general that was embroiled in a case for, I think it was buying macro goods backdoor?
Yes.
Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am aware.
And you think she's the right person to spearhead the operation for the Cape Flats?
So, I'm aware that there's an IPID investigation.
Okay.
I do not have, they have not come to a conclusion.
Okay,
but
so
I'm aware that
despite the fact that you know that she's embroiled, there's a case against her, a current case against her, you choose that person. Despite the fact that we don't have public trust, that person is now going to head up an operation in the Western Cape to deal with corruption when she herself has allegations of corruption.
I didn't choose General Musekili.
Okay.
She is the Deputy National
Are you able to
Commissioner.
advise the NC against her sort of leading up this operation? Obviously not instructing, maybe just, you know, saying to him, hey, can we look at someone else until she's cleared? We're not saying she's guilty.
Yes. No, I haven't considered that. It might be that I think that you are raising a matter that is concerning. I do not dispute that. I have to work with what's there.
Okay.
There is also a whole team. Lieutenant General Sentumule has also been critical in formulating the strategy. You know, there's a whole team of people working. So I don't think.
We understand that,
Yes.
Minister. We're specifically speaking about this one person. We have seen over the years and over the past couple of months how people that has come into this house are embroiled in crime. So we want to know that whatever we do going forward, we don't have those elements and those characters as part of operations that's meant to sort of restore public trust. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Minister, anything to say from that comment?
No, I think it's a fair comment.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable James. Honorable Skosana.
Chair, I thought the acting minister will respond on that because we don't want to go out of here misleading the public. Honorable James mentioned that the Scorpion was disbanded by President Zuma. It's not true. And the minister knows because unless he has resigned from the ANC. In 2007, in the National Conference, the ANC took a resolution. And then President Kgalema Motlanthe disbanded the Scorpion in 2009 in January. I wanted to put that on record that we should not really mislead the public. President Kgalema Motlanthe at that time disbanded the Scorpion. Thank you, Chair.
May I say, Chairperson, because I am assuming the honourable member was in that conference, so was I, and I definitely opposed that decision vigorously, and I confirm today that I think it was the wrong decision, and we are learning the lessons of that decision. But otherwise, I have no dispute with the facts that you are putting on record.
No, Chair, I just wanted to make that clear. The issue is debatable. When I get my time, I'll respond on that. For me, it was a good decision because it was politically targeting people. Hence, we took that resolution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Sangon. Do you want to start questioning?
Okay.
Remember, they have just joined in the afternoon, and
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, man, disorganized. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
are you
Chair.
ready?
I'm ready. I must just find my notes, which I can't find now. Okay. All right. Thank you, Minister. Sorry, I was still stretching and laughing at Honorable Skosana there. Minister, let me thank you very much for, firstly, I think your appearance, but also the contributions that you made in your statement. And I do want to say that, I mean, we've been trying to go through them with a fine-tooth comb, and really the work that you put in to help us look at possible areas of reforms is really appreciated. So thank